Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty. It's Thursday, May the 11th, and I'm joined today by Ryan McGinlay, or as you see the Twitter handle, at the Ryan McGinlay, my Twitter handle at the Haggerty10. Good morning, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Tony. How are you? You all good?
I'm all right. Another piece of silverware for the Celtic B team. We shall talk about that.
Another day, another trophy.
Yes, it certainly feels like that, doesn't it? I'll just direct you to the strap line running along the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. You can subscribe to the Celtic Way website and support top quality journalism covering the club you love, and it will cost you just £4 for 4 months for unlimited access to everything that we write on the website. And all you do is click a button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. So excellent, Ryan. Celtic beating pulsating 3-each draw. They like a wonderful match. The youngsters, don't they? 6-5 last week in the Youth Cup final. 3-each draw, win on penalties. You know, it was all happening. Game of two halves, I think, Ryan. Fair to say, is that right?
Without a doubt. I mean, after watching that first half, I was like, how many is this going to be? 3-0 up after about 35 minutes was incredible. Some of the football that they were playing, you can see the work that Steve McManus and Darren D have been doing to sort of implement Ange ball or Ange Postecoglou's style of play into the B team. Football was phenomenal. Reo Hatate terrorising the Rangers defence. Brooks scoring 2 goals. Ben Summers looking like a really, really good young player. Litsosa as well, really performing well. Second half, Rangers get a penalty before half time, which was a penalty to make it 3-1, and it seemed as if the wheels just fell off in the second half. It was one of those ones that Rangers seemed to get a lift from that goal, and then they get a late equaliser, and you're like, oh, we're gonna probably lose this in penalties. You know what it's like. But Josh Clark steps up, 4 penalties saved, phenomenal stuff. I mean, if you can save penalties, you must have a future in the game. It's a real skill to have. And we lifted the trophy at the end of the night, so no complaints. And it's good for the youngsters to get used to lifting trophies. That's the way it should be at Celtic. And if you start early, then that's obviously a good onus for what's to come later on in your career at Celtic.
I think, as you say, Josh Clark saving 4 penalties in front of the manager, that's no mean feat, is it? And again, the manager taking time to go and watch the team. It's what a boost that is for those guys to see him in the stands there, Ryan, just as it was for the youngsters the week before, that he's all over all aspects of the football club. And 2 goals for Adam Brooks, 1 for Reo Hatate. Decent performances. You spoke to me off air about, was it Sosa's penalty you wanted to say that kept Celtic in it at one point and stuck it in the top end?
Very much the pressure penalty, because it was a penalty that Celtic needed to score to stay in the tie. Rangers had went 3-2 up. If Celtic had missed it, that would have been, this was the 5th penalty, and if they'd have missed it, it would have been over. Rangers would have lifted the cup. Sosa steps up, top left-hand corner. No goalkeeper in the world is saving it. Total pressure penalty, and he took it. He had a great game overall. He seemed to be really terrorising the Rangers defence with his runs into the box, and a really, really great penalty. He's impressed me a couple of times I've watched him. I remember watching him against East Kilbride in a Lowland League game a couple of months ago, and he really did stand out. He's got a bit of pace about him. There's a couple of bits of his game that he needs to work on, but if he keeps it going, then I don't see why he can't have a future at Celtic.
Excellent. Now, few comments coming in. Kevin Ferrier, morning Kevin, how you doing? We have a keeper that can save penalties, says Kevin Ferrier. And Mickey Moynihan says, what a penalty shootout last night. By the way, those 4 saves are mind-blowing. Get that young lad to coach Joe Hart on penalties. Tongue-in-cheek one there. And another tongue-in-cheek one from Pete McGee, who says, Tony, why don't you donate the wardrobe? That's a famous wardrobe that you used to sit behind me when I did the podcast.
I remember
it. Sunday Troops trophy cabinet. Yes, is that, you're going all Jaws on me there. We're going to need a bigger cabinet, isn't it, Ryan? You know?
Yeah, so I think so.
But no, I think it's been a terrific week for both the youngsters winning the SFA Youth Cup final and the B team winning the Glasgow Cup final, and both terrific matches, Ryan, and showcasing a lot of the talent that's out there.
Yeah, showcasing a lot of attacking talent, I would say, because quite a bit of the defending has left a lot to be desired, especially the second goal that we conceded. Bosun Lawal is sleeping, and Lovelace comes in and sort of steals the ball off him in the box and puts the ball away. It's a decent finish. I know he played and get sent off last week, so he'll feel a wee bit better about himself that he scored a goal. But it's one of those ones. Lawal's got to have better concentration there. I know his job, or one of his main jobs, is to play out from the back, but he's got to do his defensive responsibilities first, and he didn't do it there. He's a good player. We know he's got a really high talent and really high ceiling. He just needs to work his concentration a wee bit more, I would say. But what I would say is that he takes one of the penalties and scores in the shootout. So even though he had a bad game by his standards, I would say, he stepped up. He was brave enough to take a penalty, and he scored. So all in all, he'll feel a lot better about himself.
CJ7, morning CJ7, saying that game last night was a great game. Pretty Celtic gave away a 3-goal lead though. Andrew Gillier, morning Andrew, how you doing? Law positions himself well, defending crosses. Steve Cassidy saying it was a bit horrible to watch, especially the second half. You said that, didn't you? Rocco's a good prospect. She's done Hallow. So yeah, you said off air that the second half was the kind of, the wheels fell off the barrel type of thing.
Yeah.
Which Cassidy says all ended out well in the end, though. I guess it did, didn't it?
What I would say though is if that game did go to extra time, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this, I think there was only going to be one winner. Rangers looked like they had their tails up after scoring that third goal. The penalties came at the right time for Celtic, I would say. We looked like we'd ran out of gas completely, which is it's understandable. We put so much into the first half, and in the second half when you're defending, you're going to be tired. Also, it was very disappointing to see Reo Hatate coming off with an injury as well. I was hoping that maybe he had more of a chance in the first team. Again, he really, really impressed me last night. He's got something, I tweeted about it last night, he's got something special. He's got that X factor that you need to sort of make it in professional football. Whenever he's on the ball, and I would say the same for Summers as well, Ben Summers, they both look like they've got that wee bit of star quality that they need to make it in the higher level. So yeah, I do want to see more of them before the end of the season, but obviously if Vat is injured, then we won't see that. But if Ben Summers gets a chance, then I seen Ange taking notes last night after we scored the third goal. So he's obviously watching the players and seeing how they're doing. And it's great that players are showing up in front of the manager, because he's the guy that they're supposed to be impressing. This is the big leagues getting into the first team. So yeah, that was good that he seemed, the thing about Ange Postecoglou, he looks really locked in as well. He doesn't look like he wants to go anywhere. He's checking out the future of Celtic as well. So it all bodes well, I think, in terms of long-term prospects.
Yeah. Sean Malloy comes in, morning Sean. Yeah, really concerned about this playing out from the back. There has to be some realisation of when and when not to. Beach Boys comes in and says, Youth B team have conceded 8 goals in 2 games, coached by 2 defenders who are trying to coach totally opposite way they played. Defending is shocking. Well, that's I guess that's one way of looking at it, but you did say that, didn't you, that some of the defending left a lot to be desired. So over those 2 games, we did notice that. Obviously 6-5 and 3-3 tells that story, doesn't it? The attacking wise,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing as well. I would say on the other side of things, I would much rather they make the mistakes now than coming into professional football and then making mistakes in the first team.
Yeah.
This is what they need to get used to. I'm so glad that they play roughly the same football in the B team and the under-18s and they do in the first team, because this is the way they're going to play. It's this way of the highway. Ange Postecoglou is not going to change the way that he plays for young players coming out of the team. So they need to get used to it. And I'm glad that even if they do make mistakes, they get used to it now, and then they can come into the first team and feel more acclimatised when they do make it. So I'm not too concerned about mistakes. We got the result at the end of the day. We don't need to talk about the second half performance. Please don't. It was awful. But yeah, we got the win. We got the trophy.
Even in making those mistakes, they still walked away with silverware in both times, Ryan. It showed they've got some kind of mental fortitude and character there to see it out.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got the Ange Postecoglou mentality of we never stop, and that's seeping through to the younger players as well. It seems that that's a very unified stance when it comes to every iteration of Celtic. I feel like I've said this a lot, but every version of Celtic or every age group or iteration has got this we never stop. Even the first goal, you look at the defender, the left back. He makes a run to pressure the defender in a way that Dyson Maeda would do for the first team. He wins the ball off him and then passes it into Brooks, who finishes it off well. So it shows you that the impact that players like Dyson Maeda and the first team are making is then coming off of the youth players when they're watching, because they're the benchmark. Dyson Maeda is the benchmark for Ange Postecoglou's style of play. That's great that they're seeing that and they're working on that in the youth team as well. I'm really, really glad to see that.
Yeah. Charlie McGarvey comes in and says here, you can't not talk about the second half performance. You analyse it and you learn from it. I guess you do, don't you? But all's well that ends well, as they say. Ryan, Celtic won the trophy. Now, yesterday as well, the PFA Scotland Player of the Year nominations came out. Ryan, Celtic got 3 representatives. Reo Hatate, Kyogo Furuhashi and Callum McGregor. Kevin Van Veen from Motherwell was also on that list. But the biggest surprise to me, and you can't tell players which way to vote, but I'm astounded that Cameron Carter-Vickers is not on that list, Ryan. Absolutely astounded. But hey, I don't speak for all the players in PFA Scotland, so it's their vote. They can do what they like with that vote. But I mean, he's in the top. He's in my top 1. Let's put it that way, of Player of the Years, personally. So, but again, it's how others see it. But was that a surprise for you that he wasn't on that short leap, Ryan?
I thought it was an absolute shock. Of the short list yesterday, I was like, right, is this the real picture? Cameron Carter-Vickers has got to be on this, because he was snubbed last season as well for the same award, and he had a great season last season. So that's 2 years in a row that he's not been recognised. My only sort of explanation would be that I think attackers are annoyed that he's not giving them any sort of spare change with regards to giving them any opportunity whatsoever. He's locked them down that much that they've got the hunch with him, or the hump with him. It's just he's the best defender in the league by some distance. I'm glad that
probably the best player in the league. So.
Yeah, I wrote about this yesterday, that it's a glaring omission that he isn't in this short list. You could make the argument that he could replace maybe 1 or 2 of those players. I know Kevin Van Veen's done a great job, and he's brought Motherwell from basically relegation fodder and nearly a top 6 team. He's done a phenomenal job. Out of the 3 Celtic players that I would maybe take it up, I spoke about it yesterday about taking Callum McGregor out. Now, Callum McGregor's had a phenomenal season for Celtic again. That's to be expected. He's the captain. I just think Cameron Carter-Vickers has had a better season. I think if you were to take either one of those 2 players out, you would take. If you took Cameron Carter-Vickers out, the team would hurt more, or it would be damaged more than if Callum McGregor was taken out due to the quality of the midfield. I think Cameron Carter-Vickers is the safety net in this team. He is the difference, and I feel like that should be reflected in the awards.
Can you hear my dogs going absolutely tonto?
Well, they're annoyed at the decision as well.
I think they are. I think that's disgruntled that Cameron Carter-Vickers not been on that short list. Now, a few comments about that. Morning, Derek. How you doing? He's saying it's a joke. TJ, the legend, saying Cameron Carter-Vickers should definitely be on the list. And CJ7 saying Cameron Carter-Vickers and Jota should be on it. Yeah, I mean, I'm astounded. So there you go. But it is what it is. Derek Crawford saying to be Ryan and Cal Mack was out for a while, and I was playing this 6 role. Yeah, so
he done that very well. Well as well.
He did. David Ferguson, let's start a procession. Tony, 100,000 signatures that has to be brought up in Parliament. And Gordon Coney saying that Carter-Vickers not been on the short list is as shocking as Tillman being in the SPFL Team of the Year. You guys spoke about that yesterday, didn't you? You and Aidan. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I just found it's a staggering omission to me. I don't know. Edward Wyavos comes in and says CCV's a quiet achiever. He doesn't need a bag of tricks. But no, I just think that I don't know, as you say, what other players have seen, and maybe it is the fact that he's snuffed out so many attackers. They've got the help with them. They've just, But in any list for the Player of the Year, Cameron Carter-Vickers has to feature, and I say I'm shocked and surprised. Most definitely, I think he deserves. He deserves the accolade, to be fair, and as you say, he was snubbed last season for it. So, but I guess he doesn't bother. He's all about the team, isn't he? As his last performance at Hampden against Rangers proved, that it was all about the team before he went into hospital to get his knee operation. So, good on him. I think the Celtic supporters appreciate everything that he does, and that's all that matters to him. And his manager does as well, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think he'll be well in the running for Celtic's Player of the Year or Celtic's Players Player of the Year. He should get some sort of recognition for his phenomenal achievements this season. I think it was Michael Jordan that said attacks win games and defences win championships. Well, that's certainly true with Cameron Carter-Vickers. He's kept us in games this year. He's last-ditch defending, his distribution from the back. He's just an absolute Rolls Royce of a player. I know that cliche gets used a lot, but he is a Rolls Royce in this league. Well, you could say Rolls Royce, you could say an absolute destroyer, whatever sort of way you want to describe the man, but he's an absolute phenom in this league. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. Just a colossus, to be honest. I wrote a piece last week saying where does he rank in the kind of pantheon of great Celtic defenders? Because every era has. Yeah, you've seen that. So that kind of, I said he was up there for me and my era of Paul Elliott and Mark Reaper were two guys that I love, because I'm not naturally drawn to defenders, but thought he was outstanding. Lots of people also saying in his time at Celtic, they think he's better than Virgil van Dijk. We're talking about his time at Celtic so far. So there you go. And Seamus Gallagher saying, Tony, in our eyes, he's a top Celtic player, outstanding since he put the hoops on. I totally, he's been utterly outstanding. So there you go. There's David Ferguson, tongue in cheek, there's always a Ballon d'Or, Tony. I think he's talking about Big Effie Ambrose, isn't he? So there you have it. But no, other people making the news with regards to the nominations, Ryan, were Reo Hatate, who's obviously been nominated for Player of the Year, and Liel Abada. Now Reo Hatate was asked about his absence from the team celebrations, and fans getting all worked up about it, putting two and two together, coming up with five, going all sorts of, taking to social media to take all the anxiety and worries out on that. But Reo Hatate said, well, you can leave me alone. Maybe it's not a big deal. People are reading too much into it. I had my personal things, so I had to be away from the team. But that's all, nothing else. I wasn't at the Brighton game. I watched it on the television in my house. The main thing is that I play for Celtic. This is where I am, and I am focusing on the rest of the games. There you go. Emphatic kind of nailing down of all the speculation that he was leaving and everybody getting worried, Ryan, even yourself who put out a tweet saying he's going to break my heart. Are you more convinced now that he's going to stay, Ryan?
I think these are welcoming statements from the chair, well, on behalf of the chairman of the Reo Hatate Celtic Supporters Club. I'm very happy to be the chairman of that organisation. Absolutely love the guy. Ever since he's walked through the door, that first game against Hibernian, you knew after 10 minutes, a couple of touches, you were like, this guy's a player. You just know it passes the eye test with flying colours. I don't doubt that he will make it down south one day. I mean, he's 25 years old. I talk about how he's a young 25 because he's came through the university system in Japan. But give us another year, Hatate. Just give us another year, and I think everyone will be quite happy. I think there's still more to come. You've seen on Saturday, especially his second half or Sunday rather, in his second half performance against Hearts, how he can just turn the game just like that. He's just got this magic effect of being able to just anchor a game and turn it on its head. Seen that with his assist for Kyogo. Give us one more season, and then you'll have your pick of clubs rather than maybe just a handful of clubs in the summer. You'll have your pick if you have a player of the season sort of campaign again next season. But I don't doubt he'll have higher aspirations in Celtic. He's a great player, and he's shown it in the Champions League as well. I remember in particular his first half against Real Madrid, him up against Modric. There didn't look like there was too much between them in that first half. But I think one more season and then we can start talking about if he wants to go somewhere. But I just love watching him every minute, and I hope that he's fine to play on Saturday, because he could run amok again.
Now, a lot of comments coming in. Strachan's laptop coming in saying it'll be an interesting summer, that's for sure. Comes back in and says, give us another year, then he'll go for 30 million plus. David Ferguson saying to you, Ryan, listen to what the manager says, Ryan. Go. Talking about players, and Beach Boys coming in. He has a blue gum shield. Of course, he's signed for Brighton. So there you go. Lots of comments coming in.
Reo Hatate. If that's the case, he's had that. If that's the case, he's had that signed up for months, because it's the only gum shield he's been wearing.
And B comes in and says, higher aspirations in Celtic. Is that possible? And David Ferguson coming in saying, Ryan, why would Hatate leave when he's got the Champions League every season? He showcases skills, and then presses that with it's a serious question, Ryan. So there you go. You can take the floor and answer David.
I get that. I totally get that, especially the Jam. You know how players are like. They look at the Premier League as this sort of as the highest level. That's not to say that you'll get in the Champions League even if you play in the Premier League. There's 20 clubs down there, and only 4 or sometimes 5 of them get into the Champions League every season. So yeah, I do agree with the fact that he's more guaranteed Champions League football here. But you know what players are like, especially in the current day and age. I'm not trying to wish him away, by the way. He is my favourite player in this Celtic team. I've got to make that abundantly clear. He is my favourite player in this team. But you know what players are like, especially in the modern day.
Yeah, and also I think the manager also said, don't become attached, don't grow too close.
I know.
They are heroes, but they'll come and they'll go. So I guess that's David's kind of alluding to. And whether he goes at the end of this season or next season, you just enjoy him while you can. He is a phenomenal footballer. He's quite rightfully in the short league for the Player of the Year, and good luck to him. But I think that everything else, when players say they're happy, then you've got to take them at face value, haven't you, that they're happy at the club that they're in. And I can understand why players would be perfectly happy at Celtic at this juncture, because they seem to be on an upward trajectory under the manager, and there's a group of guys there who, are bought into everything that the manager has brought, and everybody's bought into it. So the prospect of the team dissolving fills everybody with dread, but it's an inevitability. It's just a question of when. But I think you have to live for the moment, don't you, and enjoy these moments and enjoy this team for as long as they're around.
Without a doubt. And I spoke about a couple of years back, the Brendan Rodgers sort of era with the double treble and treble. I maybe took those times for granted because you just expected success with how good the team was. Yeah. Because of what we went through 2 years ago, I'm enjoying this season even more so, because nothing's taken, nothing's promised, and nothing's guaranteed. And the way that this team are playing is absolutely brilliant. And the way that the players have bought into the manager's philosophies, even players from far off countries, look at even places like Argentina, Japan, look at how South Korea, they've all got this unified language, which is Ange Postecoglou's system. And it's absolutely brilliant to see. They all sing the same hymn sheet or the same songbook, and it's great to see. I'm also looking forward to hearing, I know it's out at 4:00 today, but Joe Hart's podcast with Ben Foster, to see what he has to say about Ange Postecoglou. I know he had some comments after the Hearts game, but I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say about Ange Postecoglou in this podcast that's coming out as well. He's had high praise for the manager, so any praise is good for me.
Yeah. Now, Jason Mudgard comes in and says, must remember that the Japanese players are very humble. Perhaps Rio doesn't like attention. Perhaps. And David Ferguson says, I don't think he's motivated by money, and he seems happy, in my opinion. All the Celtic players are happy. at the club at this moment in time. That doesn't mean to say that they'll want to leave at some point, but listen, I don't think you could be any happier been playing for Celtic at this junction and at this moment under this manager, playing that style. They all talk about the brand of football that's just enjoyable. And another one who was speaking about that was Liel Abada. Liel Abada, who's been nominated for the Young Player of the Year, and lots of speculation surrounding his future, Ryan. And he said this is quite emphatic actually from Liel Abada.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about what the newspapers or media says. I just care about how to improve every day, how to get better for the team, how to give 100%. I am focused on getting the 3 trophies, and that is the most important thing right now. I am really happy at Celtic. Everyone looks after me and tries to help me get better. My relationship with the players and the staff is very good, so I am really happy here. There is no rush. I have time. Right now, we are just focusing on finishing the season strong, and this is the most important thing. That's quite strong from Liel Abada, isn't it? Because there's been lots of speculation emanating from Israel about him agitating for a move and stuff like that, and kind of putting the focus on it that it's Liel Abada who's causing ructions here. He's kind of nailed that, I think, has he not?
Yeah, without a doubt. It's quite a shame too, because it feels as if Liel Abada, due to the success that we've had in the past 3-4 weeks, he's become a bit of the forgotten man at Celtic, when he's been such a really, really big contributor to the team over the past 2 seasons. I would say that last season was probably a better season for him than this season. Maybe, I know his numbers are still good, but he would have probably been looking for a bigger impact, given that it was his second season and he was more settled. But having watched the clip of him speaking, the first thing that really came to me was his English is phenomenal. I mean, it's really came far. I think having Near Beaton in and around him in the first season has really helped him, having familiar faces, and now he's part of that group. His English is spectacular. He really did speak well, and he really did put across that sort of emphatic, I'm in no rush to leave. He definitely didn't leave it lost in translation whatsoever. He made the point very, very clear. I think it's an odd one, because he's still so young, and you've seen the links with Ajax. You're like, potentially that would be a good move for a young player. Ajax is a great place to sort of develop your game. You know that. You look at the examples of young players in the past. Look at Anthony. He was a winger. He moved for 80-90 million to Manchester United. So it's an interesting one. I would like to see him stay, because I think he brings a lot of. His numbers are really, really good in terms of goals and assists. He's always contributing. There's just certain parts of his game that I think he needs to work on, maybe on more of the winger side of things rather than the forward play. But that he's got all the makings of a really, really good player in the making. So if he stays for another season, I'd be delighted with that as well, because he's settled, and his value to the team cannot be understated.
Yep. B comes in and says, unleash Abada on Saturday.
Could be the game for him.
My ball says, too many fans were too quick and bad-mouthing Abada. Some of the stuff on social media has been shameful. Angelo Tyro comes in and says, that's right, Tony. Lethal Leo will be here for the next 5 matches. I agree. He's not confident that he's going to stay. Listen, you can only go with what players are telling you. That's a man who said he's happy. Will he leave in the summer? Who knows? We will see. That will all be played out in the fullness of time. But I think he was trying to nail some speculation there, wasn't he, Ryan? And sort of say, I'm happy here. I'm not in a hurry. So Strachan's laptop saying Abada's a great career ahead of him. I'd like to keep him. I think most Celtic supporters want to keep him because they do value his contribution, which has been a sterling one since he came in. And and if it goes, you wish him all the best. You say thank you. But I think if you're a young player right now, Celtic's a great place to be. It really is.
It definitely is. And the thing that I think maybe Celtic fans are still worried about, because in the past we didn't necessarily replace players that went out the door. I now trust the scouting system to bring in replacements if and when we do sell our young assets for good money. You've got to assume that even if we're really stacked in a position, we'll already be scouting for that position in case somebody does get sold in the next transfer window or two. I'm sure they'll be doing their due diligence on what players are coming through and what players are available for the team. So that's a great place to be. It seems like we've really got our house in order with regards to scouting. So even if we do sell somebody, I'm I'm then excited about who we bring in to replace him, because we might even bring in a player that's better than the player we've just sold. So that's exciting times for a Celtic fan.
Is that the beautiful house you're talking about, Ryan, in order? Remember,
yes, absolutely.
Beautiful house. Kevin Ferrier comes in, hope the wee man stays. Alan Woods comes in. Thank God we're in the Scottish Cup final next month. He's already getting the blues. No pun intended, with the season about to end. Andrew Gillier comes in. If Abada was leaving, Ange wouldn't play him. So there you go. Derek Crawford comes in and says, you won't be allowed to go, Ryan, until Celtic have a replacement. GG and the Strakomakis and Josip Juranovic are perfect examples of that. Yeah, I mean, Celtic will be all over that if it does prove that Abada's heading for the exit door. At Celtic will be scouting players, and as you say, they could even bring in somebody better if that is the eventuality and that turns out to be the case. Just always listen to the manager in this sense and say players will come and go. So it will happen. Question of when it isn't. So, and you always worry when it gets to the summer about your prized assets, don't you? It's human nature. Let's be honest.
I think with regards to Derek's comment as well, we have been stung before in the past with not replacing, with being reactive in our transfer strategy rather than proactive, bringing in players after we've sold our assets, which does not bode well in terms of gelling the players into a new team and a new system. So with regards to that, it looks as if we've got that sorted. We've learned from the mistakes of the past that we've made. Yes, it's good that we don't have Champions League qualifiers to sort of negotiate, so that isn't affected as much. But we could even bring in players and then gel them, and then by the time the season's ready to go, then these players are ready to go as well.
Well, the strategy in the past, Ryan, was wait till you get knocked out the Champions League qualifiers and then go and sign players. That's all been dissolved, hasn't it, under Ange, and long may that continue.
Because that's a gamble at the end of the day. It's not even a gamble, because you're signing maybe even lesser players due to the fact that you're not bringing in the riches of the Champions League. Why not? I know, like I said before, we're not negotiating qualifiers, but if we were, why not pay the extra $1 million or $2 million and guarantee your place in a qualifier, or guarantee your win in a qualifier by bringing in these good players rather than wait and then sign the players? That just doesn't make sense to me, and I'm glad that they've addressed this with regards to their transfer strategy.
So far, anyway.
So far, yeah.
And they don't have qualifiers, thankfully, because of the hard work that's been done the past 2 seasons by winning the title. So, excellent stuff. Now, Ryan, there's a small matter of association football tonight. Fran Alonso's women take on Glasgow City at Celtic Park, hoping to reduce the gap at the top to 2 points again. And then if they can do that and they win the remaining games, they'll take it down to a last day shootout, won't they? If Rangers also win, they could also win the title too. So could end up a brilliant last day, Ryan. Celtic just need to win tonight against Glasgow City, then win the remaining games, and then take it down to the wire on the last day as they chase their first Women's Premier League title. What a game that'll be tonight.
Absolutely, and it looks like it'll be a good crowd as well. I heard some talk about records being broken in terms of a women's game at Celtic Park, which would be absolutely brilliant to see. It seems as if the fan groups are really getting involved as well. They're going to be bringing their drums and all that to make a really good atmosphere for the women, which is absolutely brilliant. Fran Alonso and his players know what they need to do now. They need to win this game. Anything else other than a win is unacceptable. It won't help them in their quest to win the league. So they need to go out and win the game, and then basically keep them in the race and see what other results transpire over the rest of the season. But they've got to be in it to win it. They know what they have to do. They need to just go out and win.
Yes. And a couple of Celtic players also on the short list for the Women's Player of the Year, Ryan, as well, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Caitlin Hayes and Jacinta, they were both, or they were in the Team of the Year, rather. I'm not sure if they were in the Player of the Year, but it's good to see those players getting recognised for their good work this season. So, yeah, hopefully they get the rewards as well.
Amy Gallagher, Caitlin Hayes and Jacinta are all in the PFA Scotland Women's Player of the Year award. So that's a healthy representation for Fran Alonso's women team, isn't it? And also just indicative of the season they've had. And it would be wonderful if they did break records tonight, Ryan, with the attendance. I believe it's free for season ticket holders, £8 for a ticket, and lots of interest being drummed up in the women's team now. So here's hoping they can take it to the wire, Ryan.
Yeah, it seems as if there's been a real sort of effect from Fran Alonso. Fran Alonso's brought the interest in the women's team up a level, I would say, due to his infectious personality, both on and off the pitch, on the touchline as well, going mental. I know some of his fashion choices have left a lot to be desired as well, but he's definitely an infectious character, and people have got behind that. And I just hope it's a really good crowd tonight. I'm sure it will be, and it should be an interesting game to watch for everyone involved.
I mean, I've had to measure at Glasgow City the past couple of times I've played them. It's going to be asked to do it again, Ryan, and the Glasgow City have been the dominant force in the women's game, but they can do it, so they have that kind of psychological edge, knowing that they've done it before, so they're not asking to do anything alien to their nature recently.
Yeah, and a free horse race, especially in the league at this point of the season, that's exciting. I know that was a really disappointing result against Rangers last week, but they're still in with a small chance, so they need to just keep their names in the hat, basically, or keep their hat in the ring, and keep their fingers crossed that results go their way, because you never know in football, anything can happen. So I've got the fingers crossed for the ladies tonight.
Do you prefer to be in that situation, Ryan, that it's win or bust? You kind of know what you have to do?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, because you know what, it's not as if you're going out and like, oh, a draw will do us. They've got to come out and play with that winning mentality that they have to win the game. I think that suits. I think if you know what you need to do, you know that anything else other than a win won't get you to where you need to be, then that's a positive in a sense, I would say.
It's also brilliant that it's at Celtic Park, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that'll drum the interest up as well. Any chance to sort of go to Celtic Park is one that should be taken up, I think, due to the fact that Celtic have played they've played 2 away games and two away games and a game at Hampden, so we've not been at Celtic Park in a wee while. So anybody that can make it over should make it over, because we've not been there in a while. So any excuse to get back to paradise is a good way to go.
Also on Sky Sports, isn't it? I believe.
Yep.
So if you can't make it along, you can certainly watch it on Sky Sports if you have. Obviously, if you've got Sky Sports, so there you go. But we wish them well. We wish Fran Alonso's team the best. See if they can continue the good week, Ryan. Youth winning the Youth Cup final, Celtic B winning the Glasgow Cup final, and the women's team hopefully, Celtic winning the title as well, and the women's team hopefully keeping their championship hopes alive. What a week that would be, Ryan. Take us into Saturday nicely, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know you were singing happy days all day. It definitely is happy days just now. Celtic in all forms and in all teams. It's definitely a good time to be a Celtic fan. And fingers crossed the women's team add more to that tonight, and then obviously the weekend as well.
We've got to Thursday, Ryan, incredibly, and we've not mentioned Saturday. We'll do the big blockbuster preview of Saturday tomorrow. Young Aiden will be back as well. The three amigos will talk Rangers, Celtic, 6 Glasgow derby of the season, Ryan. Oh, you off tomorrow, are you?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Oh, you're getting a day off. Oh, well, fair enough. Young Aiden will be back. We'll discuss that, eh? Nice one. But yeah, it's been nearly 40 minutes. And yeah, we shall preview the big game on Saturday at Ibrox tomorrow. Ryan will enjoy a day off. So thank you for your contribution this week, sir. Excellent. Enjoyed that. And everybody, no worries. Just direct you to the strap line running along the bottom of your screen. As you can see, subscribe to the Celtic Way and support our work. And you can support top quality journalism in the process as well. And it'll cost you £4 for 4 months of unlimited access to everything that's written on the site, all for the click of a button. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. There you have it. if you like today, then why not subscribe, guys? That's what we'd like you to do. Ryan, thanks for your contribution all week. Excellent. Contributors, thank you so much. Comment section always loaded with comments. Knowledgeable people. We love the interaction. We try our best to answer the questions as honestly and as openly as we can. We'll be back tomorrow to preview the big one on Saturday. Ryan will be back Monday. Here's hoping it's another happy one. Ryan, indeed. Enjoy your day off, sir. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.